There's nobody here I need to impress. And while the chemicals were killing me, it never left you stealing me. I feel your divinity in my vicinity whenever I am depressed or under duress. And I know my abilities you've been giving me. Lyrically, spiritually, I am blessed. Gates is not the only bill that I've been observing, and not the only bill that I find kind of disturbing. Let's go back to the year 1986 and meet the 99th Congress. What a bunch of dicks. They came up with H.R. 4456, the Child Vaccination Act. And here's a wild, fascinating fact. If your company that you own and they supply the vaccine, somebody died, nobody gets tried in a court of law at all. Problem solved. No retribution, no legal solution. You all scot-free. Watch me. Hop on a plane with Mr. Epstein. Now boarding the Lolita Express. Whoa, look over there, man. Is that Eminem and Stephen Colbert? And look, it's the two Bills, Clinton and Gates. Oh man, and they look like they're hitting on that girl that we met on the plane, the one that was with Ghislaine. I think her name was Courtney. Shit, she's only 14. We need to get the fuck up out of here. I got nothing left to confess. There's nobody here I need to impress. And while the chemicals were killing me, it never left you stealing me. I feel your divinity in my vicinity whenever I am depressed or under duress. And I know my abilities you've been giving me. Lyrically, spiritually, I am blessed. I'm blessed. Now, let's say that you got a foundation and almost all your donations, they're directed toward the containment of a particular contagion. And one of your experts, he's kind of grouchy, his name is Mr. Fauci. He comes up with an equation. Fear plus persuasion equals the creation of a frightened nation whose panic and lack of education and only wanting just some protection from this agent of infection, they head in your direction and they ask Mr. Bill for their injection. Wanting just protection from this agent of infection. Why don't you go get your shine box? Your direction. Go get your fucking shine box, Tony. Injection. I got nothing left to confess. There's nobody here I need to impress. And while the chemicals were killing me and never left you stealing me, I feel your divinity in my vicinity whenever I am depressed or under duress. And I know my abilities you've been giving me. Lyrically, spiritually, I am blessed. I'm blessed. Dear Bill, I wrote you, but I keep getting returned to sender. I've even tried your wife Melinda, but she's putting a block on my calls. There's a rumor she might have a cock and balls. I apologize for the cursing. I guess you two are never in the same room at the same time, so people think you might be the same person. But anyway, fuck it, man. What's been up? How's the vaccine biz? I know you wish that everybody was on board like Maxine is. Oh, guess what? My wife's pregnant again. You remember Myrtle? Yeah, I always seem to wind up with the skanks. And what's up with you having 3 kids? I thought Melinda was infertile and you were shooting blanks. And what's up with all these tanks? I see them being transported on a train. Is that for martial law? This shit's getting insane. You remember when I met you in New Delhi and you were complaining that it was really smelly? Well, I asked you if it was safe getting that polio vaccine and you said I was making a great decision. Yeah, well, my daughter's okay, but my son Micah, he lost his vision. Yeah, it's been some time and a lot of tears now. And Micah, he's been blind for years now. He's gotten pretty good at walking with a cane, though. Anyway, hit me up, yo. I got nothing left to confess. There's nobody here I need to impress. And while the chemicals were killing me, you never left me stealing me. I feel your divinity
Hey everybody, and how you doing? It's Monday. It's the start of the week. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Let's get on to it. Let me catch up with the chat here a little bit. We had Gerald, first one in. Riddle Girl. Got some AZ family news. Let's see. OMG is here, ready or not? All right. Well, welcome. Appreciate you being here. I said hello on D Live.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Riddle Girl. What's up, Broken Patriot? How you doing? What's up, Mule? How you doing, bro? Welcome. Behind M lines. Rogan is a Bernie supporter. How unbiased will he be? I don't think he's a Bernie supporter. From what I watched, and it's not necessarily what I'm going to read because I have the article, but from what I've watched, he's called Bernie out a few times. In fact, he made an analogy saying that voting for Bernie Sanders is like taking a flashlight with an almost dead battery on a very long hike, because it's not going to last you very long. So I don't think he's a fan of Bernie, Bernie. For some reason, I saw Joe Biden. Yeah, he might be a fan of Bernie. He's not a fan of Joe. And we'll get to that story in a little bit. RG, what's up? Good evening on the chat. Hope all doing well. Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. I finally got my truck back. We thought about trading it in for another truck, but they wanted a lot of money per month on it. And it was nice. It was a Cummins turbo diesel. And it was nice. But that didn't work out, unfortunately. And then they called us at like 8 o'clock. I can't believe you didn't take that deal. It's already gone now. Well, why are you calling me then? Are you bitter that I didn't take your offer that you thought was a really good offer? I don't know. He supported Bernie for president. I'm not saying he didn't. I just said that... for some reason I thought you were saying Joe Biden. Which is on me, right? He can support whoever he wants. Let's see. He said he's gonna vote for Trump. He said couldn't vote for Joe. Well, as I said, he made the analogy of voting for Joe is like voting for a flashlight to go on a long hike with it's almost dead, right? If we were Bernie versus Trump, he would vote Bernie. Yeah, he might. You know what? If it was Bernie versus Trump, it'd be a lot more scary of an election, would it not? I'm not a Trump supporter either. You know, I'm not a Bernie supporter. I'm an America supporter. Put that on a bumper sticker somewhere. Right? Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, I don't care. You vote for whoever you want to vote for. That's fine. It's two ends of a different fuck job. You're going to get screwed one way or the other. Which side would you like to get screwed by? You know? I mean, Republicans will at least tell you they're not going to come after your gun rights, but then they do. So that's kind of a backstabbing turnaround, right? We have the one guy with the eye patch in Texas. You know, I'm a veteran. I'm totally pro Second Amendment, but I have a red flag law that's a better red flag law than most. Trump. Oh, I'm going to be the best Second Amendment supporter president ever. But I think we should take the guns first and then due process second. Or... You know what? Nah, man. At least the Democrats, at least like Beto O'Rourke, comes right out and says it. Yeah, we're going to take your AR-15s and your AK-47s. Hey, you know what? I appreciate the warning. You know what I mean? There's something to that. I'm not saying I'm going to vote for him, but I'll tell you it's a little bit refreshing to hear a politician actually come out and say what they're going to do, and you know they mean it. Right? You know they mean it. And I like that. Because I'm tired of voting for conservatives who go in there and start like, well, we should have more expanded background checks, or we should have, you know, magazine capacity limitations, or red flag laws aren't all bad. Really? Oh my goodness. Okay. As we know, if Bernie, okay, heard that. I'm a family supporter, right on. And Clinton gun ban? Yeah. Hell no, you're not.
That was when you said Beto O'Rourke said, yeah, I'm going to take your...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Exactly, right? But at least he comes out and says it. You got to give him some credit for that. I think so, anyway. All right, let's get to the stories. Trump jumps on the offer to have Joe Rogan moderate debate with Joe Biden. President Trump on Monday jumped on an offer from mixed martial arts commentator and Spotify podcast host Joe Rogan to moderate a 4-hour debate with former Vice President Joe Biden. I do, Trump responded on Twitter to a post from Tim Kennedy, a retired MMA fighter. On my podcast with Joe Rogan, he offered to moderate a debate between Joe Biden and the real Donald Trump. It would be 4 hours with no live audience, just the two candidates, cameras, and their vision on how to move this country forward. Who wants this? Kennedy said in a tweet, and that's where Trump responded. Rogan and Kennedy were discussing the debates Sunday on the podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan said that to avoid the bias in the media, he'd be happy to moderate a debate between Biden and Trump. Now, yes, he supports Bernie, supposedly. I have not looked that up, so I'm going to take your guys' word for it, right? Let's just say he does support Bernie, because I haven't ever watched a Joe Rogan Experience thing. I have heard some of it, and I've heard that he has some conservative views as well, right? So, I mean, he's maybe not fully woke, but he's not fully red-pilled either, right? I don't think he's... I don't know. I think he's somewhere in the middle, in a way. I don't know. First of all, I want to see no one else in the room, just the three of us. And you'd have to stream it live so no one can edit it. And I would want them in there for hours, Rogan said. If they want to do it, they both want to come here to Austin and sit down and have a debate, I would 100% do it, he said. But I don't think that Biden can handle it. I think Biden is like, people get mad at me for saying this. I think there's something wrong. And I don't think there's something wrong. And I don't think there's something wrong because I'm guessing or because I'm pro-Trump. I've seen him fall apart, Rogan said. The two candidates have agreed to 3 debates, and we will be covering those live and maybe having friendly wagers with moderators selected by the Commission on Presidential Debates. The first debate will be held September 29th in Cleveland, the second on October 15th in Miami, and the third on October 22nd in Nashville. Moderators are Kristen Welker of NBC News, Steve Scully, the political editor of C-SPAN Networks, and Chris Wallace of Fox News. And Chris Wallace ain't no fan of the president either, so, he's got 3 moderators that are, Chris Wallace might at least hold Joe Biden feet to the fire a little bit. We'll see. Yeah, Broken Patriot should be no teleprompter too. I agree. And if there is a teleprompter and it's obvious that he's either gotten the questions ahead of time or he's reading his answers off the teleprompter, I have a feeling that Trump might just call him out for that and maybe expose it to the people. We shall see. There's a lot of things we can bet on. This is going to be a really awesome debate if they take place. And that's the other thing. Are they going to take place or not? We'll see. That's why I'm voting for myself. You can keep your guns. There you go. Right on. Well, at least you're not going to take your own guns, right? Should be no teleprompter. Agreed. If they have one, I'll be just surprised. We'll see. Yeah. I think they will. But I think they will try to get away with teleprompters and giving Biden the questions early. We shall see. All right, so I know that was the only thing I titled this evening's video, so if you just came for that, that's pretty much, we can discuss it a little bit more if you want, but that's pretty much all the news I have on that. Joe Rogan offered, and Trump accepted, and now we just got to wait to see if Biden will accept. Maybe hashtag it out, try to get him to goad him into accepting. That'd be pretty fun.
Only a one-sided restream bot tonight.
Only a one-sided restream bot?
Yeah, it's not going over there. It's only going in the live over this way.
Well, I suppose that's all right. At least if somebody's if somebody's commenting on DLive, at least I can see it. All right. So next, Trump holds indoor rally in defiance of the Nevada governor. I actually watched the rally. I don't know if you guys did or not, but I am impressed. Right? I've been to a Trump rally in the past. Back in the day, before he said he'd take the guns first and due process second. I went to one. Before the banning of plastic stocks that have absolutely nothing to do with making the firearm fully automatic, I supported them. Right? You know, so I went to one, and they're big, right? And there's a reason why Joe Biden doesn't do rallies, because nobody would show up. People at this rally, oh my goodness, people in mass are showing up. He's gonna. It's just my opinion. I think he's gonna win in a landslide. However, I do think that Biden won't concede, right? And I think we're gonna have some issues with that. We shall see. Trump would never let that happen without using it against Sleepy Joe. Trump should walk in with a pillow for Biden. A My Pillow, right? Get him a My Pillow. It's extra comfortable, Biden. All right. In defiance of state regulations, President Trump hosted his first indoor rally since June, telling a packed, nearly maskless Nevada crowd that the nation was making the last turn in defeating the virus. I love this. Mostly maskless Nevada crowd. Mask. Look at all the masks. I mean, we can't see the people facing them, but I'd say that guy doesn't have a mask. It's like, find Waldo. Find the ones without the mask. This one's kind of blurry, but let's say they weren't wearing a mask. This lady here has it under her nose, so I mean, that doesn't count. So out of the people that we can see there, I've maybe 2, 3. Yeah, I know he called it a peaceful protest. Eager to project a sense of normalcy, Trump soaked up the raucous cheers inside a warehouse Sunday night. Relatively few in the crowd wore masks. Fake news. Absolutely fake news. And this is from a conservative news thing. I mean, maybe they saw the other people. I don't know. With a clear exception, those in the stand... Okay, there we go. With clear exception, those in the stands directly behind him. Maybe that was a prerequisite, right? In order to be in the stand behind Trump, you have to have a mask on. That could be. Whose images would end up on TV were mandated to wear face coverings. Not since a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when the country's first emerged from severe lockdown and had a poor attendance by Trump campaign standards, has he gathered supporters indoors. We are not shutting the country down again. In fact, it has been recently ruled that shutting the country down, or governors shutting businesses down, making some businesses non-essential, is against the First Amendment, which we all preached forever, but there has been a ruling on that. I don't have the story up, but I will bring it up after this. But we're not going to shut down the country again. A shutdown would destroy the lives and the dreams of millions of Americans, said Trump, before using his inflammatory moniker for the Rona. We will very easily defeat the China virus, recognizing that many supporters were uncomfortable to gather in large groups indoors where the virus spreads more easily. The Trump campaign shifted to hold smaller outdoor rallies, usually at airplane hangars, but those rallies have grown in size in recent weeks with little social distancing and few masks. You can't ignore the people like him. A lot of people like him. A lot of Democrats like him. A lot of minorities like him. All right? And on Sunday, they returned indoors, in part as a nod to the Las Vegas area heat. Temperature checks were given to upon entrance. Okay, so they got a little temperature taken, right? And were encouraged to wear masks. Few wore them. Good. It's your freedom. You can wear whatever you want. That's freedom of expression, right? You can't tell me I can't have a shirt on that has a message that I agree with, because this would be considered freedom of expression. Having a mask on or not having a mask on is also freedom of expression. I don't care how dangerous this Rona virus was or could have been, right? It could have been worse than the Spanish flu of 1912. It does not matter. The Constitution does not stop because of some danger, right? That's how you get rights taken away forever. Nevada governor, a Democrat, has limited in-person gatherings indoors and outdoors to 50 people. He's limited it to 50 people since May. In a statement released just before the rally began, he said that Trump was taking reckless and selfish actions that are putting countless lives in danger here in Nevada. You know what it is? They just cannot stand the fact that he can bring in such a huge crowd. Biden couldn't even try. And what this does, it re-emphasizes that a lot of people are for Trump, and they're trying to make it seem like, well, you know, nobody's going to vote for Trump anyway, so don't even bother going to the polls because he's not going to win, right? So they really want to shut it down. To put it bluntly, he didn't have the guts to make tough choices, he said of Trump, of handling the virus, ignoring the constitutional principles of federalism. Oh, because of him, yeah. He left that to governors and the states, which was not constitutional either. Now he's decided he doesn't have to respect our state laws as usual. He doesn't believe in the rule that the rules apply to him. Interesting. Very interesting. Let me go and do this 1 second. And for some reason my internet's taking a minute. Oop. Oh yeah, I wanted to play this too. Fallout Gaming says I'm right. Well, I always appreciate when somebody says I'm right. Have you guys seen the ad of Trump against Biden that's unlisted but still got like 6 million views? Even though it's unlisted? That's crazy. And it's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny commercial. I'll give him that. All right.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your premier source for Second Amendment news. Let
me just clear this up a little bit.
Today, a decision was made by U.S. District Court William S. Stickman IV, who said that Governor Wolf in Pennsylvania's order to restrict the size of gatherings and to close non-essential businesses because of COVID-19 is unconstitutional. Now, the governor's office has said they're going to appeal, obviously, because no king wants to be made to look like a buffoon. But what should be noted, and I don't have the whole decision in front of me, otherwise I'd have a link for you, but I don't have it yet. Hopefully I'll have it soon. But the judge wrote in his 66-page opinion that even though the actions taken in the spring by Governor Wolf and Health Secretary Dr. Rachel Levine were laudable, they still violated the First Amendment right to freedom of assembly and the due process and equal protection clauses of the 14th Amendment. It's almost like we, the people, know what we're talking about. Now, so far, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office, who obviously was the attorney for the governor, hasn't said anything, but I assume that they'll be on the side of the governor because that's who they're defending. Now, one thing that has been made record is a statement by Lindsay Kensinger. She's a spokeswoman for the governor, and she said that they're disappointed with the decision and that the actions taken by the administration were mirrored by governors across the country and saved and continue to save lives in the absence of federal action. Well, is that true? I guess that's up for people's opinion, but no. I mean, people have gotten sick, and even the CDC's changed their numbers of how many people have died from COVID. Yes, yeah. Maybe when it first started, we were all panicked and thought it was worse, but it's proven to be not as bad.
Not
as
even close.
The governors hoped, right? But hey, that's my opinion. We have less than 1% transmittal rate here in Massachusetts, and if you take the numbers by the CDC, only 50 deaths in this state have happened from somebody under 50 years old.
Wow.
I'll take those chances. I'll run with them. I've had H1N1. It's supposed to be the same thing, right? I'll run with them. Kensinger also added, this decision is especially worrying as Pennsylvania and the rest of the country were likely to face a challenging time with a possible resurgence of COVID-19 and the flu in the fall and the winter. She means that they hope they do so they can take more communist action leading into the election. That's an easy translation. Of course, she was quick to say that today's decision does not affect the mandatory mask order. You shall still wear your face covering. Also, she says that the mandatory work from home order is still in effect. Now, the plaintiffs in the case, the people who brought this forward, I believe should be lauded. There's 7 business owners. U.S. Rep Mike Kelly, who's a Republican, State Reps Daryl Metcalf and Marcy Mostello, and Tim Bonner, as well as the Butler, Fayette, Greene, and Washington counties. The businesses include 3 hair salons, an appliance store, a farm, and 2 drive-in theaters. Now, I actually, in recording right now, I just got the actual decision, so if I can get the link down below, I will. But the Judge Stickman, said this, that he believes that defendants undertook their actions in a well-intentioned effort to protect Pennsylvanians from the virus. However, good intentions toward a laudable end are not alone enough to uphold governmental action against a constitutional challenge. Indeed, the greatest threats to our system of constitutional liberties may arise when the ends are laudable and the intent is good, especially in a time of emergency. What he means is the ends do not justify the means. You can't just violate someone.
All right, so let me catch up a little bit. Behind enemy lines, hopefully that ruling affects us in New Yorkistan, New England Journal of Medicine. Yeah, a 0.1% fatality rate. Yes, it will kind of. What it basically is doing is it's setting precedents, right? Now it has been ruled, and now it will be easier going forward to also be ruled in other states. I don't believe this one will affect you personally, but it will give precedence, if that makes any sense. OMG, our tyrannical governor is shutting down restaurants if they don't make you wear a mask when you're not at your table in Virginia. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, even here in Arizona, a lot of the businesses aren't doing it because they're not really going through and enforcing it. Now, some places are. I think they have like some facial recognition cameras at our local Fry's, which is like Kroger's, right? And basically that you have to wear a mask, and if you don't, then they're going to probably send you a ticket in the mail kind of thing. But they were trying to make businesses, and some businesses are still complying, right? You're not allowed to go in their store without a mask, right? And because if they let you in there without a mask, then they're going to get in trouble and they're going to get their business license. And I hope those businesses, some of them believe in the virus, and that's just how that is. You can't change it. But some, they might sue, and I hope they do. It sucks that it'll come from the taxpayer, not the politician themselves. If there's a way to sue the actual governor of your state, that would be ideal. But these businesses need to stand up and take back their rights. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and finish this real quick.
Not justify the means. You can't just violate someone's rights because of a flu. You can't do it. Judge Stickman also said that even a vigilant public may let down its guard over its constitutional liberties, only to find that liberties, once relinquished, are hard to recoup, and that restrictions, while expedient in the face of an emergency situation, may persist long after immediate danger has passed. Are you listening? This is a judge who gets it. He says that once you give up your right, you will not get it back. This rings true on everything. First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, you insert it here. You can't just turn a blind eye because people are sick. Our individual rights and our individual liberties mean more than feelings. So good job, Justice Stickman. The stuff I've read so far is great. I'm going to finish reading the 66-page opinion, and I'll have a link down below if I can get it. Right now, it's not in link form, but I'll try to get it for you. And thank you all for your time. If you get any satisfaction or any value out of this video at all, please hit that thumbs up.
Yeah. Hit the thumbs up, peoples. Let's see, the judge's opinion right here. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat if you guys are interested in that. That's way too big of a link. Hold on, I've got to shrink that down.
Maybe shrinky link.
Yeah. Sorry about that. My goodness, that's a big old link. All right. Come on. There we go. There we go. Little girl first lady. Virginia is enforcing it, huh? I mean, for us, as I said, there are some businesses that are and some that are not. Right? Oh, man, I just cleared out of one. Some businesses aren't. And I think that some businesses are probably being more closely watched than others. Like, there's some restaurants that are... Like, there's a Chinese restaurant we used to like to go to. You know, if we're not wearing a mask and they're not requiring it, nobody's going to go in there and check. You know what I mean? Only if a Karen went in there and saw somebody not wearing a mask would they probably give a shit. You know what I mean? All right. Cuomo should be sued for killing thousands of nursing home patrons. Yeah, instead he's writing a book about it, right? We would not have an outbreak if it were not for Cuomo. Maybe. If it wasn't for New York and the trying to get extra money for every COVID or Rona diagnosis, you know, if they weren't trying to get money for every single one they diagnosed, you'd have, well, they wouldn't have as much money, but we wouldn't have nearly as much fear and panic. People are sheep. Would be the most hated first lady ever. They have shut down a few restaurants. Nice. Well, not nice, but whew. I don't know, man. Peaceful. What do you call it? Peaceful when they disobedience, right? Civil disobedience. You got to do civil disobedience. Everybody needs to. Here's the thing: if everybody opens up at the same time, they're not going to shut nobody down. If a business opens, right, and then a whole bunch of patriots go there and stand in front of their business, not threatening but fully ready to go if they have to, ain't nobody shutting them down. Maybe you'll get Newsom shutting off, somebody like Newsom shutting off their power, but you show up with force and you get people that are going to stand up for you, your business, and your constitutional right to have that business, and they ain't going to shut that down. And I'm surprised. I mean, Virginia's been surprising me a lot this year, unfortunately, right? And this is just another thing. I know it's Governor Blackface, but at the same time, y'all need to stand up and go to those businesses that want to be open and make sure that they don't get harassed. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. All right. Also, give me another second here because now I got to find the story that I had earlier. My apologies for the dead air. Okay, I found it. Biden campaign worries that Latino support is slipping in Florida. You'd think? Yeah, there's been a few polls out with the Latino support that Trump is getting and the black support that he's getting. I don't think it's going to look good for Biden. Senator Kamala Harris's motorcade raced past Colombian neighborhoods and made a quick stop for takeout in Doral, Zula, as it's known locally because of its large Venezuelan population, before speeding through a Cuban stronghold of Hailey. But during her first trip to Florida as Joe Biden's running mate last week, Harris did little to court this region's booming and politically influential Latino population. She instead focused on African American leaders who waited at a historically black university in Miami Gardens. "You truly are the future of our country," Harris said in a megaphone after the motorcade pulled up to a Florida Memorial University, where a marching band serenaded her ahead of an hour-long discussion with local black leaders. "You are the ones who are going to inspire us to fight for the ideas of our country." In America's leading presidential battleground, there is mounting anxiety among Democrats that Biden's campaign standing among Latinos is slipping, potentially giving President Trump an opening in his re-election bid. That's fueling an urgent effort by Biden, Harris, and their allies to shore up older voters, suburbanites, and African Americans to make up for potential shortcomings elsewhere. New York billionaire Mike Bloomberg committed over the weekend to spend at least $100 million in Florida to help the Democrat ticket. Biden is scheduled to make his first visit to the state as the Democratic nominee on Tuesday, where he will hold a roundtable with veterans in Tampa before attending a Hispanic Heritage Month event in Kissimmee. If Biden reclaims the upper Midwest for Democrats, he won't need Florida to capture the presidency, but Trump has virtually no path to re-election without it, which is why the state remains in top priority for Democrats. I don't know. They didn't think he was going to get Michigan, but yet he had a rally in Michigan with a lot of people there. He's very well liked in Wisconsin from the people that I talked to, and the people that I talked to back in the day when I lived up there were pretty heavy Democrats, and none of them are voting for Biden, right? They've walked away long ago. OMG, it's against my religion to wear a mask. Therefore, it's a violation of the 1964 Civil Rights Act to make me wear one. Well, around here, I don't know about where you're at, but around here they say if you have a health condition or you can't wear a mask, then please take advantage of our order online and we'll bring it out to your car kind of thing. Watch trains go by. What's up? How you doing? Don't count on that. That's how the Quanon woman just won her primary. She opened her bars. Patriots stood on guard with guns and police came and shut her down or charged her. Really? That's how the Quanon woman just won her primary. QAnon, yeah. Well, isn't QAnon like the Trump supporting deep web thing? I don't know. I haven't paid much attention to it, but I know a lot of people like QAnon. That's how a QAnon woman just won her primary. Isn't that a good thing? I mean, isn't QAnon pro-Trump when she opened her bar? Patriots stood on guard with guns and police came and shut her down or charged her. Surprised. I'm actually surprised. You know, freedom ain't free, right? You got to take that chance. Like sometimes I don't wear a seatbelt, right? It's my right. I have insurance, right? It's not hurting anybody else if I don't wear my seatbelt if I get in a crash and become paraplegic, right? Because I have insurance. It's on me. Nobody else has got to worry about that, right? So that's my freedom. Now, if I get pulled over by a police officer and I'll argue my point, he's still going to give me a ticket. I'll pay that ticket. And you know what? I won't even bother wearing my seatbelt the next time. In fact, I have been known to drive away without wearing a seatbelt. Right? He's like, I gotta give you a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. Now have a good day. Now buckle up. I'm like, no, I'm not buckling up. I already got a ticket for it. Freedom ain't free. You know? And hopefully all them patriots that stood outside of her business or her bar, they all chipped in some extra money. We had a business here in Arizona up in, was it Williams? It's not Williams. What was it? Mimi. Wittenberg? Wickenburg. Right? There was a lady in Wickenburg, Mimi. She has a cafe that she's had there for quite a while. You know, and she decided that once the first month was over of the whole shutdown, that she couldn't handle it anymore, and she was opening her business. Defied our governor's orders. And believe me, everybody who went in there and supported her business also left a massive tip for her coming legal fees. So I'm pretty sure, hopefully, those patriots did that for the lady that you're talking about watching trains go by. RG, if you, in your chat, go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you like it, for sure. Thank you, RG. Or the thumbs down. If you're right about the first time, though, in large numbers, they started to get scared. Let's see, OMG, fuck She-Devil. Fucking She-Devil. Kamal's got, Kamal. Got slaveholders in her pedigree. I'm sure. I don't know about that. That's interesting. They told me at Staples I had to do my shopping. I just kept walking and got things and checked out and left. I wanted to go to Best Buy. I forget what exactly I was going there for, but it was something I could buy online, but I didn't want to buy it online. I wanted it right now. You know, I wanted that instant gratification thing. And so I'm going in there, and not only are they making you wear a mask, which I'm not for, but they also make you have an appointment, or at least this was back then. That was, a couple months ago. right? You have to have an appointment to come in here and shop. I'm like, really? The only reason I'm even coming here is because of instant gratification. Now, you're telling me I have to go home, make an appointment, and wait? Nah, man, I'll just get overnight shipping from Amazon and have it tomorrow. And for a lot less money, you know what I mean? It's funny how people back down, unfortunately. Most people wouldn't want to risk a confrontation with me when they get a look at me. Ooh, OMG, ugly. Or buff, right? Wonder what OMG looks like. Right now, everybody's curious. Everybody's curious. All right. Kamala says November victory means a Harris administration together with Joe. A little bit of a slip of the tongue, or possibly something else. Senator Harris, the Democratic vice presidential nominee, appeared to inadvertently confirm the suspicions of many on Saturday by referring to Harris administration together with Joe Biden. The California liberal was giving a brief virtual speech directed at Latina business owners in Arizona, so that was in my local area. From the outset, her scripted remarks lasting around 5 minutes totaled seemed rushed and haphazard. While squinting at the teleprompter, Harris, who has allowed race-baiting attacks over the mispronunciation of her own name, appeared to butcher the name of a Tucson restaurant specializing in Mexican cuisine and the names of its owners. She's a racist. She can't pronounce their names correctly. Afterwards, she assured them that only she could understand them. And if they scratched her back, she would scratch theirs with an influx of $100 billion in tax dollars earmarked specifically for minority businesses. But you can't even pronounce the restaurant. Afterwards, she assured them that, I read that, as part of our Build Back Better agenda, we will need to make sure you have a president in the White House who actually sees you, who understands your needs, who understands your dignity of your work, and who has your back, she said. A Harris administration, together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States, a Biden-Harris administration will provide access to $100 billion in low-interest loans and investments for minority business owners. Like Biden, Harris has been known to make an occasional Freudian slip, some accidentally resulting in moments of candor that dispel the official campaign media narrative. Yeah, you think? In this case, she hinted at who truly would be calling the shots if the Democrats prevail in November. Very interesting. No wings here?
I had tried to look up OMG on Twitter, and a long time ago it had come up with this dude that was showing off his wang, and I joked about it earlier.
Real girl always is curious on those kind of things. Watching trains go by, absolutely LOL about the seatbelt thing. They thought they were going to intimidate her. Instead, she ran for office, and she might be heading to Congress. Exactly, and I hope the lady who had the salon in San Fran does something good with, her newfound unemployment. Behind enemy lines, it's amazing how the mask rules just make Amazon richer. Bezos love mask. Pretty much. I got some masks that I wear here and there, and I've done, when I have to, right? Because there are certain things that you have to do in life. So I have some. They're the most breathable ones you can ever have. And I've done a video on YouTube about the breathability of masks with vape, which, the longtime viewers have seen. But it's very obvious how well. If you've ever seen somebody vape, that's their breath. That's actually not their breath. That's less than their breath, right? Because vape is dense and it falls to the ground. Air, your oxygen, or the carbon dioxide that you're blowing out, is a lot bigger and less dense, so it goes a lot further. Anyway, if you've ever seen somebody vape a big cloud, that's every breath of somebody and more of somebody who's not vaping. And it goes all out the mask in all sorts of different directions. There was another video from a doctor who did the same test that I did, and he found that the only one that didn't allow for that is the N95s with the vents. But the thing is with those is if they're not sealed properly right here, they'll still let it in. and they'll still blow it out because the vents blow it straight out, unfiltered. There is absolutely no filter on the blow out. So the mask might protect the person wearing it from you, but it's not going to protect you from him because it's just coming straight out. It's amazing. Okay, lots of thumbs ups. Thank you for the thumbs up, 407. And Riddle Girl's giving bones. Everybody found the emojis. Right on. Okay. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, I believe. Yeah, governor, right? Signs a law loosening sex offender penalties for LGBT pedophiles. Wow. California, just every time I hear anything about California, except for the Ninth Circuit was kind of cool with the magazine thing. I'm trying to keep up with that story because I hope you all everybody in California gets their magazine capacity up. Governor Newsom signed into law a controversial new bill that loosens penalties and requirements for individuals added to the state sex offender registry, proving again he's a true champion of the LGBTQ community even when it's hard. Governor Newsom signed Senate Bill 145 ending discrimination against LGBTQ young people on the California Sexual Offender Registry. Thank you for seeing through the QAnon lies about this equality legislation. My statement, yada yada. Okay, first of all, let me preface it something. I absolutely have no time for petties, right? I think they should be at least castrated, if not executed, right? Now, there are different levels of petties, right? If you're 18 and your girlfriend's 16, that used to be something that you'd be on the sexual registry for a long time. So it would have to be like, somebody over 18 and somebody puberty or sooner, right? But I have no time for those people. They should be granted an early release from this planet, right? But at the same time, I am not a fan of registry, right? If they are so dangerous that they need to be on a registry and monitored for years after they've been released, then they shouldn't have been released in the first place. A registry is unconstitutional. Being a felon and not being allowed to bear arms or vote after you've done your time in jail, also against the Constitution, against the Founding Fathers' vision of this country when they said that no free man shall be barred the use of arms. And if you go into the Federalist Papers, even further into that kind of stuff, right? That's just my opinion. Anyway, Newsom signed the bill passed last week by Democratic-controlled state legislator without comment on Friday. Under the new law, judges can decide not to place a man on the sexual offender registry if he had sexual intercourse with someone from 14 to 17 years old and was not more than 10 years older than the other person. A similar exception existed before, but only applied to heterosexual intercourse, which was discriminatory against gay men, according to the bill's proponents. This eliminates discrimination against LGBTQ youth in our criminal justice system. The bill sponsor, so they're protecting the underaged, right? Because that's what it says. They're protecting. Let's see. Yeah, they're protecting the kids. It eliminates the demonstration against LGBTQ youth, right? So they're ending the discrimination against the victim, not the perpetrator. Nice. Critics of the law pointed out that sex between a teenager and someone 10 years older is never consensual and should always warrant being placed on the sexual offender registry. Not a fan of the registry? Just put them in jail for the rest of their lives or take them out. I cannot, in my mind as a mother, understand how sex between a 24-year-old and a 14-year-old could ever be consensual. How could it ever not be a registrable offense? Democratic Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez said when the bill was being debated in the legislature. Thank goodness there are some Democrats out there that still have some morals. California is burning. There's reports that they're set on purpose by people who want to see the whole country burn. N95 new slogan. Rona is a one-way street. Masks don't do a thing. Pedos need a short drop and a quick stop. There you go. Revolving door, great point. If they are dangerous, they should be locked up or dead. Yeah, exactly. Why do you have to soft release them? You're just putting people in harm's way. If they're truly not rehabilitated, right, then don't bring them back onto the streets where kids are. There's registered sex offenders of children living near us, and there's a school right next door. Christian school, private school, right? But it's right next door to us. It pisses me off. These people should not be living in these areas. Now, I'm all for rehabilitation, right? If you can prove to me that somebody's rehabilitated, give them all their freedoms back. And as I said, I don't believe in the whole registry. If they're safe enough to release, then they're safe enough to go on about their merry lives. I don't think they are. I think we should increase the jail time. I think we should definitely work on the psychological rehabilitation, other things like that nobody's ever going to touch, because that would be racist and against LGBTQ stuff, right? That would be horrible. Misogynist, homosexualist, all sorts of istas and isms. Revisionism rate of sexual offenders is terrible. I understand that, but you can't. I understand it's a bad number, right? And as I said, I am not supporting anybody who's done that, right? I am saying there's different levels of offenders, right? 24 to 14, I am not cool with that at all, right? But at the same time, I do believe in rehabilitation. I believe it's possible. But yes, you're right. The numbers are bad. I highly doubt the ability to rehabilitate a person who preys on underage children. That's my own wife. Okay, so we disagree on that point, I think. That's fine. Oh, this just made me happy. A YouTube live streamer arrested after pooping in Nancy Pelosi's driveway. He popped a squat and left a present. There is video, obviously, because he's a YouTuber. And there's a warning. The video and the article contain both vulgar imagery and profanity. A YouTube live streamer was arrested shortly after he pooped in the driveway of San Francisco home of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. YouTube account Lives Mafker streamed the video titled Live in Real Life Poop Pelosi. Poop Pelosi, that's hilarious. On Saturday, and it has been viewed about 24,000 times as of Monday. Well, that's not nearly enough. A different YouTube account, Trino, posted a shorter video that shows Armando defecating outside of one of Pelosi's homes. After the act, Armando zoomed in on the poop and said, "Hey boys, that's for President Trump." Later, Armando bikes past some restaurants and brags, "Hey everybody, I just took a crap on Nancy Pelosi's driveway." And I guess they said, why? Because F that bitch. Look it up, it's on YouTube. That's hilarious. At another restaurant, he shouts, "America, hell yeah, F Pelosi, I just pooped on her lawn." The video ends with a confrontation with police. "I'm investigating right now a crime, so put your phone down," the officer said. "Take off your backpack, don't reach for nothing, turn it off, put your hands behind your back." Can I know what I'm being suspected of committing?" Armando asked. "For defecating on a public official's property." The officer said, "That's what you're being investigated for. Any more questions?" The original video lasts about 2 hours as Armando walks the streets of San Fran in search of Pelosi's home. Armando posted a follow-up video called I'm Gonna Need a Lawyer, where he talked about the encounter with police. The police have released him. "It was scary," Armando said. "They asked me about Camilla and about how I joked on the stream if she lived in San Fran, I'd poop on her house too. They weren't effing playing." Oh, that's hilarious. There is a little bit of a follow-up. This is the guy here. This is a 41-second clip that we'll kind of play. Apparently, he's a homeless YouTuber. So, yeah. Anyway. YouTube star who filmed himself defecating on the driveway of the House Speaker said he did so as a peaceful protest, but admitted it was a joke that got out of hand. The man, who identifies himself as Mando on his online channels and requested to have his last name withheld for fear of retribution, told the Post that an incident started with a joke from commenters on his live stream. The 28-year-old said he's part of a niche YouTube community that creates in real life live stream videos chronicling long stretches of unfiltered daily life. Sounds boring as hell. He began the channel after he became homeless 6 years ago, and hoped to show his viewers the realities of living on the streets as he traveled from city to city. But recently, the Rona-related lockdowns made life increasingly difficult, Mando said, especially when businesses are closed to customers and no longer allow people to use their bathrooms. I can imagine. As a result, Saturday's live stream... Get this, we went to a park. We've gone to a few parks. We go to a park every night, different park usually every night, to walk the dog and just to get some exercise, right? They closed the public restrooms at these parks. However, some of these parks, with their public restrooms closed, have a porta potty that's in its place. So you can't go into a public restroom, but everybody cramming into the same porta potty, the one porta potty that they offer, that's perfectly fine. Wow. As a result, Saturday's live stream video titled Poopalosi began as a protest against a lack of resources for people living on the street, while people in power, such as Pelosi, are able to get haircuts and live their daily lives fairly unchanged. I've been hurting for a toilet all week, and the joke came up in the comments on one of my streams that, hey, you should take a crap at Pelosi's house. Everyone was enjoying the idea, and eventually I just couldn't hold it anymore. In the video, Mando can be seen wandering the streets of San Fran in search of Pelosi's home. Once he's there, he sets up his camera across the street, stands in what appears to be a Pelosi driveway for several minutes. He eventually salutes his viewers before squatting down to relieve himself on the pavement. That was for President Trump, he said after exiting the frame. Mando told the Post that the comment was meant to be satire and that he's not really very political, although he supports Trump's accomplishments and is scared about rising crime in the state of the country. Even the homeless are supporting Trump? That's bad. I mean, that's really bad. If this guy goes and votes, that's really bad for Biden. All right. Watching trains go by, you can't cure a disease. Pedos don't belong in society one way or the other. It always comes down to, will they put their desire above other people's safeties and rights? Okay, so with the pedo thing, I kind of agree, right? I kind of agree. I do think that most, especially the bad ones, and we can all agree, like 24 to 14, a 14-year-old should not be having sex with anybody above 18, right? I think we can agree on that. Yeah, I think they should be locked up for life, right? Or if they want to get out, Riddle Girl says if they want to get out early, they can be castrated voluntarily, and then she'd be okay with letting them out. I think you said once before, right?
That would still only be under monitoring.
Really? You still take away their rights even after they castrated themselves?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a sickness that they can't cure.
Yeah, I don't know. Can they cure it or can they not? I don't think every pedo remains a pedo. It is a what do you call it? A perversion, right? It's a serious, disgusting perversion. But I mean, there's a lot of perversions that we normalize in this world, and they are trying to normalize pedos too. I mean, just look at is it Nambla or some shit like that?
Yeah.
Right? They're trying to, and even with California, they're trying to normalize it. I don't know how I feel about that one. I'm sorry. I'm going to leave that one alone because I don't really know how to talk about that one that well. But I do think that if they're too dangerous to be on the streets, they should not be let out. Link to the Poopers page, please. Which one do you want? I got two of them.
I gave it.
Okay. The Pooper was set up. Nancy told him as long as he was just one person at a time wearing a mask, it should be safe to do. Pooper's page, the joke got it out of the butt. Yeah. They took it off his channel, but it's been reposted. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm sure that you can't keep this video down.
It was kind of funny, though. He shit in her driveway. He goes, this is for Trump, and then he went running down the street and saying, hey, everybody, I shit on her.
I know. I just read that.
It was just great.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was funny. Oh, I wanted to show you this commercial. I'd pulled it up and I'd forgot to do it. So let's do that. All right. So this is a private, well, not private, unlisted video from President Trump. It's got over 6 million views. You ready for this?
No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced phony soldier. My memory is not as good as... Am I doing this again?
Please clarify specifically, have you taken a cognitive
No,
test?
I haven't taken a test. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not. What do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say to President Trump, who brags about his tests and makes your mental state an issue for voters?
The American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness. Wait, you're getting nervous, man.
Oops. Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. All right. All my Trump fans are going to love that one. Shit, I'm not even that big of a Trump fan. I mean, I'm going to vote for him, obviously, but he's done a lot of things I don't like. But that one was hilarious. $100,000 reward for info on the gunman who shot California deputies. Apparently something happened. I didn't read all about this, so we're going to read about it together. Authorities were continuing to search Monday for a gunman who walked up to a parked sheriff's squad car and opened fire, critically wounding 2 Los Angeles County deputies in an ambush recorded on surveillance video. Now, this sheriff has come out and asked, I forget who he asked. I think it wasn't Kobe. It was a basketball player. LeBron, yeah. He asked LeBron if he would match the reward for finding the people who came up and shot the sheriff. And, of course, no response. Let's see. It's actually damn good. It's funny. It's definitely funny. We got out bump stocks back. 407, clarify. We got out bump stocks back? Since when? I mean, some states are trying to get it back, but it's a federal thing, right? You got the ATF, who is ruled by decree that they can change the rules on what is a fully auto and what is not, right? Without Congress ruling at all. Anyway, officials asked the public for help in identifying a gunman in a weekend ambush after officials offered a $100,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. The 31-year-old female deputy and 24-year-old male deputy underwent surgery after the shooting Saturday evening and were expected to recover. They performed in admirable fashion in spite of grave adversity, Vanella said during a conversation with local religious leaders, God bless them. The deputies who graduated together from the Sheriff's Academy 14 months ago were shot while sitting in a patrol car at the Metro Rail station and were able to radio for help. Wow. The department has faced criticism during recent protests over racial unrest, but it's unclear if that was a factor in the shooting. Officers have only a very, very generic description of the shooter to go on. Surveillance videos show a person approaching the parked patrol car on foot and shooting a handgun through the passenger side window. I'm guessing this is the photo here. The gunman walked up to the deputies and opened fire without warning or provocation. You're going to see that more and more, I think. An extended version of the video reviewed by the LA Times shows the shooter running away in the direction from which he came. He turns a corner out of the frame past the second figure lingering on the sidewalk, according to the Times. It's unclear if the second person was involved. Moments after the shooting, the passenger door opens and the deputy stumbles out, hand on head, according to the newspaper. The driver's side door opens soon after. The video sparked reaction from President Trump, who responded on Twitter, animals that must be hit hard. This cold-blooded shooting is unconscionable, and the perpetrator must be brought to justice. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden tweeted, "Violence of any kind is wrong." He tweeted that a long time ago. Did he tweet the same thing, or are they just referencing an old tweet? Those who commit it should be caught and punished. A handful of protesters gathered outside the hospital where the injured deputies were being treated. The protesters tried to provoke deputies stationed outside, and at one point were prevented from entering the emergency room. Bishop Juan Carlos Menendez, with the Church in Action group, told the TV station, "Unacceptable behavior. The hospital should be a sanctuary. We should leave hospitals alone," he said. Menendez and members of his group gathered nearby in prayer for the wounded deputies. Video of the scene recorded at least one person in the crowd yelling, "I hope they die." Wow, that's lovely. Isn't that lovely? Is it Transphibian? What's up? First time I think I've seen you here. Welcome to the chat. Sup all, Jonathan Picone and Snake Jones brought me here. I think one of the first shows I've partaken in. Well, thank you. I appreciate the view. If you like what you watch, don't forget to subscribe. Maybe like the video and share yourself if you really get into it. 407. I heard it was taken to court. They are fighting it. I know they're fighting it. I am a member of the GOA and I am going to watch on this. But as far as I am aware at this moment, I haven't seen it. Now, if there is, we're going to have a party, right? And I might have to go back out to the lake and go fishing. You know what I mean? Real Girl, bump stock ruling to be reheard. And right there is a link, right? BLM was at the hospital. Well, they didn't say they were BLM or not. They just said protesters. But, I mean, most BLM protesters are white anyway. All right. Officer shoots knife-wielding Latino suspect. Mob riots ensue. Once again, this is the second time. I think last week we had somebody who came after a cop with a gun in his hand. He wasn't pointing it at the cop, but he did have it in his hand, and it was a pretty chaotic moment, and the cop shot him after he didn't comply with putting the gun down, and he kept running. I'm not a fan of cops that shoot people when they're trying to comply, right? Ryan Whitaker here in Phoenix, Arizona was trying to comply, got shot in the back. I hope those cops rot in hell. I really do. I hope they get found guilty, and I hope they go to jail for the rest of their lives, and maybe even executed for it. I know it would only be second-degree murder, but for real, that was unjustified, right? There have been other black people who got shot or beaten by police that are unjustified, right? So I have no time for those cops. But when you're running at a police officer with a gun in hand or with a knife in hand, and they tell you to put it down and you do not, whether you're pointing at them or not, you're going to get shot, and I'm not going to stand up for you. You know what I mean? But apparently some people will. Police deployed tear gas on a crowd of people protesting early Monday after an officer shot and killed a man in Pennsylvania while responding to a domestic disturbance call. Hundreds of protesters took to the street of Lancaster following the shooting death of Ricardo Munoz on Sunday afternoon. The crowd formed outside the police station where the department stated multiple buildings and government vehicles were damaged by demonstrators. Munoz was fatally shot after coming out of a home and chasing the officer with a knife. The body camera video shows the officer firing several shots at Munoz, who then falls to the ground. The officer was placed on administrative leave, as usual. The district attorney acknowledged the protests in a news release late Sunday, and it called for calm. We ask that the acts of protest remain peaceful, and as violence and destruction of property will become headlines and serve no purpose for the safety and well-being of our citizens and neighborhoods. As for the use of chemical munitions against protesters, hey, be glad it's tear gas and not actual bullets. All right? Some of these rioters and people, they don't deserve that. The police department said in a statement that the crowd was given several warnings to disperse before they deployed the gas. The crowd failed to follow the instructions, adding that items including gas bottles, gallon jugs filled with liquid, parts of plastic, road barricades, and more had been thrown at officers. So we're going to watch this. It says shooting 300 black. However, I don't think they had a 300 black. I believe it was a pistol, but I don't know. Donut Operator is one of your favorite channels? Right on. I just started watching him recently. I haven't decided how much I like him yet, but he seems alright. Alright, there's a whole bunch of this. Let me skip. Alright. And I guess, oh yeah, the audio starts here in a second. So I believe this person was, they called because of a domestic abuse call. And obviously the guy was armed with a knife, so it was a legit call. So I believe this is the woman in the house, right? And the man is inside.
20 is coming your way. 1 2 2 1.
Where'd they go? Get back, get back.
There you go. Love the face. I mean, what do you expect, right? I'm not a huge fan of the whole, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but come on, man. To use a Biden quote, come on, man. What do you expect gonna happen? All right. BLM was at the hospital, been subbed for a few months, just have come through for a full show. Thanks for the shout out, man. We try to read all the comments. Sometimes when the chat's really going, it's harder. So I always, feel bad then. But hey, when you guys share the stuff and we bring in a big audience, or when it's a big thing like with the Kyle Rittenhouse, that was a huge moment, right? So we had a lot of people in here. It's great, but it's also kind of stressful, at the same time. But thank you for being a sub. I appreciate it. 2 of my favorite channels are Donut Operator, who leaked police, and Video Leak Police. People get to see how it really is on the job and how lopsided the reporting is. Okay. So you like to see, there's a channel called Video Leaked Police that leaks video of cops, I guess. I don't know, man. As I said, I have issues with police officers. I think they're tax collectors or protection racket collectors, right? They're collecting money. Nine times out of 10, they're collecting money for the state. They're not accountable to the people. You don't get a vote for who your police officer or police chief is. That's appointed by a politician. Now, the sheriff's office, that's appointed by you, the voter, right? You vote for who the sheriff is. So if you don't like what the sheriff's doing, you vote him out. What do you do if you don't like the police? And why do we need to pay this protection money to the state when I'm not wearing my seatbelt and I'm not hurting nobody? Why do I have to pay the state money, right? And I've said this before, if I'm going through a country road at 3 a.m. and there's a 4-way stop, but it's obvious there's no cars coming, and I just slow down, I don't actually stop, I get pulled over and ticketed for running a stop sign. Did I hurt anybody? Did I make anything unsafe by doing that? No. I don't think I did. I think you should be held accountable if you hurt somebody or do something harmful to somebody. Anyway. Tear gas ban in Portland. Yeah, and they also banned the chokehold. 100% clean shot. I would have to agree on that one. BLM calls it an execution. I think that one was an exorcism. Yep, they show body camera footage and even shows one where cops screwed up. but it wakes a lot of people up to reality all the way around. I'm not saying cops have an easy job. I do think police officers, some of them are too on edge. I've had a couple instances with police officers where, I always carry. I absolutely always carry. And I'll just leave it at that, right? But before, as soon as the lights come on, right? As soon as the lights come on, I'm already digging for it, right? I'm pulling over safely. I'm already digging for it. I'm putting my wallet and my hands on my steering wheel, and I'm ready to go. The window's halfway down, right? And the first thing out of my mouth, officer, I have a firearm on my hip. It's concealed, and I have every right to have it because of, the state that we live in. We have constitutional carry. The first cop I had to deal with was totally fine. He's like, well, thank you for letting me know. Just don't go for it, and we're cool. We can just move on with our deal here. All right, cool. The next time that happened was a motorcycle cop. I believe it was a city cop. And, he was not happy, right? I don't know if he was fresh out of the academy or what, but he was very on edge. Wanted me to get out of the car with my hands up. This is because I didn't come to a complete stop when making a right-hand turn at a red light, right? So he's got me with my hands up. Wants to know where it is again, even though I already told him. I told him once again, it's on my right-hand side. Hands are up, all right? And he then wants me to grab it very slowly and remove it from the holster. I was like, oh, hell no, I ain't touching that thing, sir. I will, cuff me, do whatever you got to do, but I ain't touching that. There ain't no way I'm allowing anybody to think that I'm drawing on an officer. So he takes it. He removes the magazine. He takes the one out of the chamber, which I think he was really upset there was actually one in the chamber, which, whatever. Anyway, so when we're all done, right, and all my rights have been violated, he gives me back the firearm, but gives my wife the bullets in the magazine, which are not in the magazine because he took them all out of the magazine. This is how paranoid that cop is. If you are that paranoid, you should not be a police officer. Do something else. All right. You might like the VLP then, because some of those cops shouldn't be on the job, and the guy puts those videos up too. I like total transparency. Maybe. I'm okay. There's the shootings. That's bad. There's the whole cops that are on edge that are bad. But really, when it comes down to it, even the best of cops still go out. Even the oath keepers, they take an oath to the Constitution, but they also take an oath to the state. What if the state's oath contradicts the Constitution? Then which one are they being an oath keeper to, right? When you're demanding to see my license and my license, even though I have committed no crime, even though I'm not even accused of crime, just because I'm maybe being loud on a street corner in front of a Planned Parenthood, let's say, right? And now you want to know my identity, and I don't want to give it to you because I haven't done anything illegal. And then you're gonna get on me and detain me. These are the moments. These little moments of tyrannical shit makes it hard for me to support even the good cops who are, oath keepers, because they don't talk. Well, a lot of them won't talk out against those kind of cops, right? The whole thin blue line. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that, even though I already did. Florida County repeals ban on saggy pants, citing harm to young African American men. They've been horribly targeted in this sting operation of saggy pants. This is the stupidest thing. I swear to God, right? They're gonna go on about how this is. Let's see, 13 years. They finally overturned a ban on saggy pants, bottoms that reveal the wearer's underwear. Right? The county commissioner voted Wednesday 4-1 to repeal both the original 2007 legislation and the 2013 ordinance that said women, not just men, could receive civil citations for wearing pants that expose their undergarments. The Miami Herald reports that the vote was the first reading of the repeal, meaning it will need to be approved again at a subsequent commission meeting before it's official, but the item was co-sponsored by 4 of the 5 commissioners. The ACLU of Florida called it a ridiculous waste of public resources. Around the city, which is in northeast of Miami, signs still warn folks of the ordinance that's showing an image of 2 young men wearing pants below their waist and featuring the words, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's the city law. I don't want to see your drawers. Now, I'm not saying the ordinance should be in place, but come on already. This shit has been going on since the 90s.
Probably before that.
Maybe before that, but that's when I started to notice the saggy pants and I have to look at your underwear, right? Why do I have to look at your underwear? Get a new style, right? Get some hammer pants or something. Bring that back. And this, they're saying that it unfairly targets minorities in this report somewhere. Maybe it doesn't in this one, but I know. Yeah, here we go. When the ordinance was first passed, they called it ridiculous waste of public resources, saying it would impose overly harsh penalties for victimless behavior and disappropriately affect black youth. Pull your pants up then. If you don't want it to affect you, it's really easy.
I must interject on this, though. Because you were just talking
I know.
crimes.
I know. And I was about to get to that point as well, Riddle. The victimless crime, right? The seatbelt thing. I understand the hypocrisy that seems to be coming out of my mouth, right? And I don't think it should be a law. I really don't. But this is kind of bullshit. It disappropriately affects black youth. Well, the black youth is the one doing it. And it's a dumb trend that should have died back in the 90s or earlier. I don't know how long. But I mean, that's been, like 25 years? 30 years? Enough's enough, man. There's got to be some other way to have your trend. I've been thinking maybe I should keep some of my old pants and just start wearing them as baggy pants, and I'll be in style, and people just call me like P Stinger or something, you know. All right. LOL. I didn't want to say it. No, I get it. I get it. I'm just saying that I don't know. Does it disappropriately affect black youth? It's like saying the seatbelt law disappropriately affects white people. You'd never hear that with white people, right? If they made a law against white people, would you...
You just make an equal law banning skinny jeans on hipsters and man buns.
Man buns should be banned. I could get behind a ban on man buns. Oh my goodness. You see one of those and I'm like, yep, staying clear from that person. I'm not even going to talk to him. And our last story. 3 elders die within minutes during a threesome that turned into a 72-hour-long sex marathon. Woo! Brunswick, Georgia. An elderly couple and one of their neighbors were found dead in the couple's bed after a 3-day-long Viagra-driven sex marathon, which caused all 3 of them to suffer heart attacks almost simultaneously. They came all at the same time. 83-year-old Albert Simpson and his 80-year-old wife, Thelma, were found dead in their residence on Sunday, along with a neighbor and longtime friend, 86-year-old Jebediah Jones. Wow, that's an old name for sure. All 3 elders were found naked on their bed, and important quantities of erectile dysfunction drugs were found on nearby nightstands, suggesting they died during sexual intercourse. And having an alternative source... Oh, that's an ad. Sorry. We found several hours of video recordings showing all 3 victims involved in sexual... They filmed it. Intercourse during the days before they died. It also shows both men ingesting large quantities of erectile dysfunction drugs. So, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to go out that way. You know, I'm almost kind of curious because you don't take more than one, right? So why would you take a whole bunch other than maybe you want to go out happy? Lieutenant Miles said the victim's heart problems may have been caused by the excessive drug use and overly intense physical effort. We found hundreds of similar videos in the couple's house showing that they were used to this kind of intense sexual marathon. The evidence suggests that they publish a bit too far this time their age and condition, but we'll have to wait for the autopsy to be sure. Wow. Several thousand Americans die each year during this activity, most commonly of heart problems caused by excessive physical effort. Erectile drug overdoses have become more and more common over the last few years. 2017, less than 11,000 deadly overdoses associated with erectile dysfunction drugs were reported across the United, while more than 23,000 were reported in 2018 and almost 39,000 in 2019. Well, man, that'll kill you faster than the Rona. Mm-hmm. That's just as bad. Maybe we should have public service warnings about that. According to the HHS, more than 70% of these deaths implicated contraband or counterfeit drugs rather than legitimately prescribed ones. Wow. That's amazing. All right. That's all I've got for you on the news stories. So I'm going to catch up on chat. We can hang out for a little bit and then I will end it. Let's see. Watching trains go by. Okay, man bun ban. Yep, 100%. Imagine being the cop that had to watch those videos. How about the one that walked in on it? That discovered the scene. Then had to go through while the bodies are lying there. They don't remove the bodies right away, right? There's got to be an investigation, right? So their bodies are remaining there while they're looking around and investigating stuff. 72 hours though, right? Right? That's impressive. From 82-year-old people? Very impressive. They were all buried in the same plot. All right? Lady in the middle having a little sandwich. Question is, were they wearing masks the whole time? Yeah, I hope not. But we might never know unless you go onto Pornhub and maybe search for their names, right? Although they probably have porn names. Albert Simpson. Right? I don't know. The smell. Yeah, you got the sex smell and you got the death smell. That's a good mix, huh? They were mid-coitus, or...
Were they mid-coitus, he wants to know.
I don't know, what's coitus?
Sex. Like, were they in the process?
I don't know, it didn't say, did it? It didn't say. I don't think they would say, even if it was. I would imagine so, though, right? I mean, in order to have a heart condition, you know, I would imagine you're going at it. All three of them at the same time, though. That is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, that must have been wild. Absolutely wild. I can only imagine. I don't know. All right, let's go over the things in the descriptions here. All right, so below we have a descriptions, right? You can click on the descriptions. That opens up a whole bunch of links. I'm going to go over them real quickly. First of all, we have Adam Lawson's Blessed. It's the video that I play before I come on live most of the time. Sometimes I change it up, but if you enjoyed that video that came on before I came on, that's where you would click to find that. Next is Causes I Believe in and Support. Justice for Cannon, and he's the 5-year-old boy who was shot in his front yard in front of his siblings by his neighbor, and that they will not put that on the news at all. So if you want to donate to his cause and his family, there's where you can do that. There is a petition. There was a petition. I don't know if it's still going on, to be honest, to arrest officers Jeff Cook and John Ferragamo. Those are the 2 Phoenix police officers who shot and killed Ryan Whitaker in the back while he was getting down on his knees and putting his hands up. If you want news and updates on his murder, you can go to their Facebook page. Also, they have a GoFundMe as well. I skipped that one. Ryan Whitaker's GoFundMe page if you want to donate to that cause. Help find our missing in action. ProjectRecover.org is an organization that goes out and looks for service members who were lost in the line of battle and returns the remains to their families. Really good organization. Rally Point Irish is my good friend Irish USMC vets GoFundMe. He's trying to set up a location in Tennessee where veterans will be able to come live room and board free while learning a new skill like gardening, blacksmithing, and gunsmithing. Now, if you want to support my content, there's a lot of ways. Super chats, Bitcoins. I even have a link in here where you can get $10 free in Bitcoin if you want to. Next, we have all the different places that you can follow me. I have a BitChute, DLive, Parler, YouTube, Facebook, and I am back on Twitter, even though I used an old thing here. So it's going to say Riddle Girl, but I am on Twitter. Just replaced Riddle Girl with Poison Stinger, all one word, and there you go. Okay, so that's all the places that you can follow me, and if you want to donate, you can do that as well. Let's see, Riddle Girl shudders, 407's vomiting. Apparently, they were all went out doing something they enjoyed. I mean, that's the way to go out, right? I know you all talk about it. I know you all said, if I ever go out, I want to go out doing something dirty. Well, they went out doing something dirty. They lived a good life, and they definitely went out on a high, right?
Yep.
So, there you go. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for you. Make sure to tune in tomorrow if you want at 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That was about an hour and a half ago, so it would be 22 and a half hours from now. I will have a thing that comes up that tells you the different times. In fact, why isn't that on right now? Hold on. There it is. There it is. There's the times that I come on every Monday through Friday. Until then, make sure to keep your family close. Watch out for that government and try to live as free as you possibly can in the tyrannical times that we find ourselves in. Until tomorrow night, peace.